Man, what has women's bantamweight came to? So first, we hear the news that, okay, Amanda Nunes doesn't want to fight Aldana next or isn't ready to fight in March when the UFC wanted to put the title on the line. Okay, whatever. And Amanda Nunes, of course, wanted Pena and Aldana to fight to decide who gets to fight her next. Okay, fair play. Nobody likes the champ playing matchmaker, but look, Pena versus Aldana is the fight I've always wanted. And we could have got it. We could have got it. San Antonio, March 25th, was the chance, and I've been calling for this fight to headline that card specifically if they weren't going to do an interim title on the line. But of course, because Juliana Pena is entitled and difficult to deal with, Juliana Pena is like reluctant to fight anyone else if it's not for the belt or if it's not a Nunes trilogy. So now we get Pennington versus Aldana. Nothing is official yet. I think Irene should turn the fight down, but if she does, they're just going to reward Pennington, so she has to take the fight. She has no choice. She's in even more of a difficult spot than Vieira was, because Vieira, she really didn't have to take that fight with Pennington. She didn't have to, She was the number 2 contender. She had more leverage. Aldana being ranked number 5 has little to no leverage. Aldana has no choice but to fight Raquel Pennington. She has to fight her. She's got to fight her if she wants to fight for the belt. And I guess if she wins this is a good opportunity for her to, make the top 2 of the division. Since the UFC will not so kindly give her a top 3 ranking spot, she just has to force it upon the UFC to give it to her. But that just makes me so mad. Like, the 2 fights I wanted for Irene Aldana next were Juliana Pena, because it's a battle of my 2 faves, so it's like whoever wins or loses, it won't upset me that much. Even though I love both, it's like, okay, if Aldana loses her next fight that's a non-title fight and it's to Juliana Pena, okay, I can't be mad, and then Pena earns a title shot, problem solved. But nah, that's not how Pena's brain works. She's like, no, trilogy or nothing else. So that can't happen now. Now there has to be a risk of Pennington beating Aldana again, although I don't think she will. I think Irene Aldana will win. I thought she won the last fight they had, but they gave it to Raquel Pennington. And funny enough, the last time these two did fight was San Antonio in 2019, July. Now come full circle, 4 years later, they meet again in the exact same location in March 2023 in a title eliminator, which will decide who gets the fight for the title. And I guess we're probably going to get Nunes versus Pena 3. They're probably just going to get sick of Pena complaining. They're going to be like, okay, screw it. Here's her trilogy. Now stop effing complaining. And then they'll get Nunes to take the fight with Pena. And then she'll take the fight with Pena and beat Pena again. Although I want Pena to win realistically after that last fight. And the fact that Pena has not taken another fight since to get her mojo back. She's going to go straight back to the lioness and get beat even worse next time. But we get that over with. Hopefully Pena wins. But let's say whatever happens in that trilogy happens. But we get Pennington versus Aldana. Winner of that gets the winner of Nunes versus Pena 3. Or the winner of that just gets Amanda Nunes. Most likely, because I don't see Nunes losing to Pena ever again. But man, if Irene Aldana loses to Raquel Pennington again, this division is a joke. Because, look, I was kind of high on Vieira. I had high hopes for her. I was more invested in her. So the fact that Vieira turned out to be an absolute fraud, even though I thought she won that fight, it was a bad performance and it was too close to decide a clear winner. So they gave it to Pennington. You know what I mean? It is kind of Vieira's fault for not being able to dominate the fight or win the fight decisively enough and leaving it in the hands of the judges and not making a clear statement. It is Vieira's fault, but now we might actually be in a reality where, unfortunately, Pennington goes through beating 2 top bantamweight contenders who people saw as future title challengers, Ketlen Vieira and Irene Aldana. She just might, in the span of 2 months, beat Ketlen and Aldana, and then we might have to be force-fed Nunes versus Pennington too. That's a scary thought. So I just pray that Irene Aldana just knocks Vieira out of the top 2 of the division. And I think Irene Aldana will win because, she is the better boxer of the 2. Pennington is a good boxer, but Aldana is the better boxer and all around the better striker, more versatile, more tools on the feet. And last time Raquel looked to grapple a lot in that fight, and in the last round, she took down Aldana and just laid on her for the rest of round 3, which ultimately won her that fight. But fast forward, 4 years later, Aldana has improved a lot more. She's progressed a lot more, whereas Pennington is kind of the same fighter now. She's tough. She's not easy to beat. This won't be an easy fight. But again, I just think the improvements of Aldana will show to be more significant in this fight 4 years later, which will ultimately win Irene the fight. And plus, it's a 5-round fight. So that gives Aldana more time. Because last time Aldana ran out of time, because round 1 was super close. She won round 2 and got laid upon in round 3. But imagine if she had like a 4th and 5th round, she could have maybe came back and stole 4 and 5 and beat Pennington like 48-47. So now she has a chance to right that wrong and make do with extra time. And I'll say Aldana via decision. I hope she knocks her out, but Pennington is super durable. So I think Aldana will just outbox Raquel, show improved takedown defense, defend takedowns. She'll give up a few takedowns, but not many. And ultimately, more takedowns of Pennington will be stuffed than the ones that get through, and she'll just get pieced up. And hopefully, Aldana wins, and then once she wins, she'll be ranked number 2, and then she will get the shot at the title. And if she gets the next shot, Pena's got to fight somebody, man. She's got to fight somebody, or just remove Pena from the rankings and she can just retire. Like, this is ridiculous from Juliana Pena, what she's doing right now. Like, she is my favorite bantamweight, but I cannot always get behind the decisions that my favorite fighters make. And I'm sick of Pena being entitled, turning down contenders. They offered her Irene Aldana for this card. I just know it. And she said no. That was the perfect opportunity for Juliana Pena to beat an up-and-coming contender, to solidify her number 1 spot, defend her number 1 spot, and then Nunes can't deny her that trilogy. But no, she doesn't want to earn the trilogy. She just wants the trilogy handed to her. She was willing to take a contender fight before fighting Nunes before, but because she lost in those circumstances, she's too afraid to risk her spot again because she's so scared that Irene Aldana is going to beat her like Jermaine did, like Valentina did. Well, Juliana, no risk, no reward. So we'll see if Pena gets rewarded despite not taking a risk. But hopefully this nightmare will be over. Hopefully they'll scratch this fight entirely, and they either strike a deal with Pena to make her fight Aldana and for an interim belt, or hopefully they can get a deal going with Nunes and they can just delay Nunes Aldana just like a couple months longer. Maybe they do like a UFC Mexico pay-per-view like in May or June, and they can get Nunes to fight Aldana in Mexico, something like that. But come on, forget Raquel Pennington. Do Pennington versus Pena, although Pena won't take the fight, but try anyway, and do Aldana versus Nunes, and then the winner of that 4-woman tourney fights each other in the end. All right? Can that happen? Come on. I mean, Juliana Pena, you're a Brandon Moreno fan, right? Did Brandon Moreno, when he lost to Davis and Figueiredo in the trilogy, did he just sit out and complain and refuse to fight contenders waiting for the Figueiredo quadrilogy? No, he actually sucked it up and he fought somebody else. He risked his number 1 spot against a guy he already beat a few years prior, in order to earn that 4th fight with the former champion Davis and Figueiredo. Take notes from Brandon Moreno. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. But nope, that's not what Pena wants to do, unfortunately. But it is what it is. If only Vieira would have got the split decision, though, against Raquel Pennington, because I would have been much more interested in maybe a rematch between Vieira and Aldana happening, given how that last fight ended, the way Aldana slept her, and then the momentum that Vieira picked up since, the momentum that both these ladies picked up since that fight. It would have made for an interesting rematch, and I would have been wondering, can Aldana do it again? Can she sleep her again, or was it a fluke? And that just would have made for a better title eliminator, If Vieira wins, we get Brazilian versus Brazilian, Nunes versus Vieira, or Aldana wins, again, title shot secured. This rematch, regardless of it being a chance for Aldana to right that wrong, it just does not interest me. But knock on wood, Hopefully, Aldana can get this one done, and the title shot is next.